Hello there everybody and welcome back to SOMA. Last video we crash landed outside of Site Delta. We need to get to Theta, but we didn't quite make it because of our crashed shuttle. We have our little helper robot here. He rescued us and he's going to follow us around in this area, which is kind of nice. He's going to give us a little bit more light. He's going to be able to open up some doors for us. So let's go ahead and get going. This section isn't too long, but there is actually quite a bit of lore, story type stuff to see around here, so I'm going to try my best to explore everything that I possibly can. If you come up into this tower here, there's a healing point if you want to use it, and we can also examine this corpse.
Come in, Strasky. Can you hear me? Theta, listen. Acres is headed for Theta.
Delta Lumar Annex, getting a signal but no audio.
Strasky, it's Como Raby. Acres has gone mad. He's dangerous. Strasky!
Sorry, Delta. Still no audio. Try calling from another access point.
Strasky, I can try setting... I have pictures.
So that's not a good sign. We need to go to Theta, and apparently some sort of danger was headed there. That's always the case though, isn't it? And she did take some pictures. We can actually have a look at them. In the first couple, everything appears to be going well. It just looks like a couple of them working and minding their own business, doing their own thing. And then in the fourth picture, we can see some sort of entity, some sort of monster, it looks like. It looks kind of similar to the monster that we had seen in the Curie, actually. And then on the final slide, it looks like that monster is actually getting on some sort of ship. And I would assume that that ship would be going to Theta, which is what this lady here was trying to warn them about. But it didn't go through, it doesn't sound like. So I hope everything's okay over at Theta. Lots and lots of lights down here, which is nice, so it gives you a pretty good idea of what path to follow and where you're supposed to be going. And I'm going to try and find all of the doors in this area. There's quite a few doors to open. Some of them we can't because they're completely rusted shut, but there are a few that we can actually open with the help of our little robot friend. So the control room, I think we can actually open this door. Oh hey, what's up?
Can't believe how much I'm sweating.
Another robot, what's up?
Hey, could you maybe help? I need to get to Theta.
Make yourself useful.
Listen.
Don't worry about it. I got this.
Hey, you.
Help me out here, will you?
Hey, can you hear me?
Don't worry about it. I got this.
This robot seems to be stuck in a bit of a loop. He's not really paying any attention to us. But he'll mind his own business. He's just kind of in his own world. So we can try this control room door. And I would recommend just trying all the doors that you see. The game will let you know whether or not you can enter it. If you interact with the door and the robot will open it for you, then obviously you can enter it. But some doors, you know, Simon will just say it's completely rusted shut and there's just no way that we're going to be able to get in there. But you're not really in any danger at the moment, so why not take the time to explore? So this is the control room, and it doesn't look like there's much left of this place, is there? It's completely underwater. Obviously, none of the electronics are going to work. And we can also find a corpse over here, which we can also examine.
You saw that, right? You saw Acres fucking injecting that shit into them?
He got me pretty bad.
I think I made it worse pulling away. I can feel it bleeding out. Can you see him?
Fuck. He got on the Zeppelin. He's going back to Theta. We have to warn them.
Good luck with that. The platform radio is dead. Remember?
The Lumar Annex should work. It has to. warn them. Come on!
So that diary seems to come right before the last one that we watched. So that lady up in the tower who was trying to reach Strasky, it looks like her and her partner, this fella here, were attacked. And then she made her way over to that tower to try and warn Theta after they had already seen that other guy take off in the Zeppelin. I don't know what he injected them with, though. Either way, not good. Excuse me, Simon, jump on over there. So the place that we're actually looking for is this area. This is the Zeppelin transport. And so we have to be able to get on the Zeppelin to get over to Theta. And this monitor actually works, thank goodness. So we can have a look. You can see that the shipping manifest here is all updated. And it's actually interesting because it looks like these guys, the survey group, were sent out the same day that they were attacked, according to this. Because it says unspecified, and I would assume that was that fella Akers that they were talking about going to Theta. So perhaps these guys were sent out to look for this guy and he attacked them. And the other interesting thing that you can see is that the arc shell was sent to Phi, which means that they probably got the arc built and assembled at the very least. So I'm not sure if the shell contains the entire arc and the entire arc is over at Phi, or whether it's just the shell at Phi. But either way, a little bit more to do with the arc. We've got 3 different Zeppelins here, and if we try to request a transport from any of them, currently we're not able to do that, but we will be able to call one of these very shortly. And if you look at the antennas, you can see the numbers of the 3 Zeppelins. So you have 840 looks to be the closest one, 216 seems to be the farthest away, and then 049 appears to be the Zeppelin that is going to take us to Theta. So we need to remember the numbers, and if numbers are a little bit more difficult for you to remember, then you can look at these Zeppelins and remember them by color. And then finally, if we want to, we can restore some audio files and listen to these. And these are actually quite spaced apart.
Strasky, you can see the Zeppelin now.
Good. Sorry about the mess. Without the positioning system, the Zeps just keep losing their set routes. Voljet did say that you could have fixed it on your side by rejigging the antenna. I guess it doesn't matter now. Are all of you coming?
No, just me, Goy, and Creer. Akers is set up being a stubborn old man.
All right. See you soon, Brandon. Happy evac.
So it seems like the Delta team was actually evacuated at one point, and they were all sent to Theta, except for Akers, who I guess stayed behind.
Peter, can you hear me?
I hear you, Terry. I mean, Mr. Akers, sir.
I've changed my mind. I would like to come to Theta. Let Delta sleep.
Of course. Wow. Honestly, didn't expect to hear from you again. Such a long time since you checked in. We have a few divers in a Zeppelin surveying Lambda at the moment. I'll just make sure they pick you up when they're done.
Thank you for the warning. I'll make sure they feel welcome.
Okay. See you when you get here.
That is not a good thing. So those divers were probably sent to pick him up, and instead he attacked them and killed them. You can see a couple more corpses. These ones you can't interact with, like you can't interact and hear any audio logs or anything like that, but you can see that there are a few more corpses around here. And so it looks like he effectively was able to kill at least 3 or 4 people, which is pretty concerning for us because we're just one man. Can get our little robot buddy here to open up this door. Thank you very much. I love this little guy. I feel so much more secure when he's around, you know? And if I recall, there's really actually not a whole lot in this room except for just a little healing area if you need it. Bit of a map here, which again is just showing us where we are in proximity to everything. And I have to say, Catherine actually was able to take us quite far in the shuttle because I think we were just outside of Lambda and now we're in Delta. And Theta isn't actually that far away, but when you think about how far we've come looking at Epsilon to Delta, we have already really traveled quite a ways away, which is pretty cool. So again, just a little map, gives you a bit of a scope of where we are. So not a whole lot in here, nothing too exciting, but was worth looking at anyways. So I'll have to come back to the Zeppelin platform shortly. And I think we can actually move on up the hill. So if you're at the Zeppelin monitor here, if you're in this area, you just turn around, just straight ahead, and just walk straight ahead and you'll find exactly where it is that you need to go in order to call the Zeppelins. So here's a little control panel sort of thing. You can turn it on and the relay will call any Zeppelin that we are looking for in the area. So we can establish the link with each of these Zeppelins and we can call them. And the way that you're going to be able to establish the links is you're going to want to press the numbers until different lights flash up. So for example, pressing 2, it will establish our link with green. And if we press 5, you'll see that the yellow light will come on. So we can move our arrow over, which will establish that link. And then 7 finally is going to establish the link with the very last Zeppelin, which I think was the one that was farthest away. So I'm going to go ahead and establish all the links, and then I'm going to go back to the yellow, because that is the Zeppelin that's going to be able to take us over to Theta. So we can pretty much leave now. But before we do, I want to check out this area. Interesting that this door works fine. Everything else is busted and broken, but apparently not this area. And it's actually relatively intact. It's not flooded. It looks like it's been used fairly recently. And there's quite a bit to look at in this room. There's some pictures on the wall here, and there's some writing as well. The light is hurting my eyes. He's telling me I don't need this vitreous flesh inside my skull to see salvation. I will gladly remove them. Stop them from obfuscating this divine mission. So, yeah. If you didn't notice, also when we came in, he was talking about the light hurting his eyes, and the light will no longer hurt his eyes because he removed them completely. Someone just voluntarily removed their eyeballs, which is pretty messed up. My reflection in the black blood of our warden whispers, I need to save them from this hell. Let them sleep. Lock them in the lucid dreams I've seen. So this is Acre's office. Being that he was kind of the last person left at Delta, you know, he wanted to stay behind. This is probably where he was operating, since it is relatively clean and it looks like it's been lived in and used and it's fully operational and whatnot. my assumption is that when he stayed at Delta on his own, he made that decision, he was sane and he was capable of making that choice, but as time went on, something happened and he just descended into madness. And by the time that he went over to Theta, he was completely nuts, and he had turned on people and was killing them, so I'll have to find out more about what happened to him. It's exciting to watch WoW claim Delta. Half a year ago, I'd be worried. I'd have Goya and Juan clean the black blood from the machinery. Now, its crusty surfaces seem to complement, even outshine what Delta was. So yeah, the WoW, I think, kind of took this guy over. And I guess he played a lot of chess to keep himself busy, but we can't play chess. So that just gives you a little bit of an insight into Mr. Aker's psyche. So obviously wasn't always willing to agree with the WoW. He was probably kind of afraid of it at some point, but then something happened and he just kind of became one with the WoW, and it completely took him over. Much like we've been seeing with the WoW throughout the entire station, the WoW just kind of takes over whatever it is it comes in contact with. So once we've established the link to the appropriate Zeppelin, we can come back over to the monitor and we can start to call them. You can see here that this one is idle, which means that we've actually made contact with it and we can now call it.
Transport active. Unspecified cargo.
Alright. Let's go ahead and call it.
The Zeppelin's on its way. Better get ready.
And we're going to be on our way to Theta, which is nice because I'll be very glad to get out of here. I also don't know what Delta's job was. We did look up all of the areas and all of the roles that each station played back when we were in the transport going to Lambda to find Catherine, but I really honestly don't remember what Delta was, but it's very small. It's a very small site. It was probably just used as like a transport hub. Maybe Delta was responsible for sending supplies to the other workstations, because there doesn't even really seem to be a big building that they operated out of or anything like that. So we can now board the Zeppelin, but I think I'm going to save that for the next video because we are going to be getting quite a bit more story dump as we get on and we board and we reunite with Catherine. So I'm gonna leave it here. We will continue on. We'll board the Zeppelin and we'll make our way over to Theta in the next video. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.